In this video I'm going to show you how I made this brynux logo in Blender 3D. It's not meant as a tutorial because there's too much to learn, but below this video there's two other videos that are a really good introduction to Blender, so if you want to learn Blender, watch those. This is just an introduction to show you what you can do quickly in Blender once you learn it. When you start up Blender, press escape to get past that first window. It's in the default scene which has that cube. I want to maximize this to the whole window, so I double click on the title bar up the top. To get rid of that cube that's selected, I press delete. And now I want to add a new mesh, so I go Shift A, and I want the mesh to be a cylinder. It's going to be the thing behind the B in the brynux logo. I want to scale it, so I press S on the keyboard and just move my mouse to the right and click. I actually want to be more precise than that, so I open up this panel and I manually type in the size. So I go 5 units there, 5 units there, and 0.5 units there. That looks good. Now I want to go into object edit mode, so I go tab, which takes me into that mode, and I want to subdivide it so it's a bit smoother. Where is that? Here it is. Subdivide, and I also want to smooth it, which should be around here somewhere. There it is, shading smooth, and that'll make it a bit smoother. So let's preview that. If I change it to the cycles renderer, which is the new render engine inside Blender, and then I can change this to rendered, which will give me a quick preview. Now we can see that it's actually a little bit broken around here. It's not actually broken, that's the way it's supposed to work, but I'll show you how you fix that. You need to separate the faces from the top and the side because it's trying to make them all smooth. I'll just make the side panel a bit bigger by dragging it out so I can see all the tools, and then I click on this wrench icon, which is add modifier, and I add the modifier, and the one I want is edge split. And now that's all nice and smooth. That looks good. I'm going to change back into wireframe view because it's a lot faster. I'm going to change to, I'll just press tab so I'm in object mode. Then I'm going to press 7 on my numeric keypad on my keyboard, which changed me to a top view. Then I'll go shift add because I want to add some text in there, and there it is. I press tab to go into edit mode, and I press backspace to delete those, and I type B, and I press tab again, and so now we've got this B. I'm just dragging on that red arrow to move it along that axis. I need to change this B to the brynux font though, so I press tab again to go back into edit mode, backspace to delete, B, shift left arrow to select it, and then I click on the font panel over here, and under regular fonts I click on this folder so I can browse for the fonts. In brynux all the fonts are in user, share, fonts, and there's the font I want there, and open. Okay, so now I've got that nice B. I press tab to go back into object edit mode, and I want to scale it, so I press S on my keyboard and just move my mouse about. That'll do. Click, and then I just move it into place by dragging on those arrows. It's close enough. And I want to change to my front view, so I press number 1 on my numeric keypad, and I want to extrude it. So I'm going to go back into object edit mode by pressing tab, and then we can go over to here when we go extrude. I'll double click to manually edit it. I want it to be 0.05. That's good. And I press tab to go back into object edit mode, and I click on that blue arrow to drag it up a bit. And I'm going to right click on the cylinder so I can drag that up a bit too. Okay, that's good. Let's have a look at our camera view, see what it's looking like. Oh, actually, no, I'll have a look at my top view first to make sure it's aligned. Close enough. And then press 0 on the keyboard to have a look at the camera view. And let's do a quick render, previewed render to see what it looks like. Yep, it's looking pretty good. Now I want to put a plane below it so it's sitting on something like a floor. So I'll just go back into wireframe mode so things are faster. Go to my top view by pressing 7, and then I go Shift A to add a new mesh, and I want that to be a plane. I press S to scale. I'm now just going to manually type in the scale. I'm going to type in 40 units, and press enter. You can't see it because it's bigger than the screen, but if I shift to my front view, we can see the line there. Let's go to our camera view. Let's do another quick preview. And that's good. We can now see the shadow dropping onto the floor. But we need to make this cylinder the brynux orange. So I'll just switch back into wireframe mode. And I'll right click on the cylinder to select it. I'll then go over to our materials panel over here. I'm going to create a new material, and if I double click in here I can rename it, so I'll call it orange, and then I click on the color here, and I know what the hex color is, which is the web color. It is FF6600, and press enter, and that's good. And we do another quick preview to have a look. That's better. We've got our orange, but the light looks a bit dark. It needs to be a bit brighter in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that small lamp, and I'm going to put a sun in there, so it's got like daylight in there. So here's our lamp. Just selected it. If I press delete on my keyboard, I can then delete it, and if I go Shift A, I can now add a new lamp, and I'll make it of the type sun. And I'm going to grab that arrow there and bring the sun up to be a bit higher, and I'll move it across this way a little bit maybe, and a little bit back that way, and yeah, I'll give it a bit of a rotation as well. That'll do. Right, so there's our sun. Its strength, I'm going to boost it up to 2 times as bright. And now let's do a quick preview. And that's looking a lot better. Right, so now let's do a proper render of it. This is what you'd do if you wanted to output it for print, or maybe as a logo on a website or something like that. So what it's doing is it's going through and it's doing a high-res drawing of it. Of course, I've done this really quickly. If you get good at Blender, you can actually create an ocean below it or clouds going past. In the intro video of brynux, I'll give you some examples of some amazing animations that people have done with Blender 3D. If you want to learn 3D, get good at this and you'll be able to make, Lord of the Rings type movies. So that's how you make the brynux logo in Blender.